You're in the water loop.
Waterloop. Hey everyone, this is Travis with Waterloop. I want to talk to you for just a minute about High Sierra shower heads. I use them in my house because they're a water-efficient fixture, but I'm a big fan for other reasons as well, including their design and construction. They're made of solid metal. So this High Sierra shower head I have in my hand right now, you can tell that it's a quality, well-made product, unlike the vast majority of shower heads, which involve a lot of plastic in their construction. And that's something we need less of, right? Less consumer products with plastic in them. The other awesome thing is their nozzle design. It's a unique patented nozzle that's not going to clog like so many other shower heads. The other thing about this nozzle is that it will work in low pressure. You'll still get a strong, powerful, but water-efficient shower. You can use promo code WATERLOOP for 20% off at highsierrashowerheads.com. Waterloop. Welcome to Waterloop. This is Travis. I am extremely pleased to be joined by a new friend of mine who is here to talk about a lot of different things with social entrepreneurship and water and some incredible activities that are going on. I'm with Venky Raghavendra. He is Senior Vice President for Advancement at the Safe Water Network. Venky, how are you?
Travis, I'm doing absolutely fine and wonderful to talk to you.
Yeah, like I said, we've only chatted once before this, but it was a great discussion. I think we discovered a lot of common ground and common philosophy, positivity, an emphasis on solutions and successes when it comes to water. One of the things you've had run throughout your career is work on social entrepreneurship. I'd love to hear you describe that, especially in the context of water.
Thanks, Travis, and that's a great way to begin. I was fortunate to spend time, considerable number of years with the premier social entrepreneurship organization, Ashoka, it's a very nice trajectory from Ashoka to other organizations and then to Safe Water Network. So I'm a self-claimed social entrepreneur, and I have been working with social entrepreneurs around the world. And the best part of that, Travis, is you're constantly exposed to incredible solutions and innovative ideas, and really dealing with complex problems with little resources. So it's really amazing to bring that experience to Safe Water Network and to my world of water here.
Yeah, if you could describe a social entrepreneur, what is that person?
Well, a social entrepreneur, he or she is a quintessential change maker. They bring their problem-solving lens to everything that they do. They look for patterns of ideas and change, and they zero in on a particular problem in the world. And they are relentless. They don't stop till that problem is addressed. And that's probably the hallmark of a social entrepreneur, Travis.
Yeah. And so within the water world, we have all these challenges, right? People are very familiar with all the challenges across the world. Governments have a huge role, NGOs, and all that. But why are social entrepreneurs vital to addressing water problems and building a more sustainable future? Why are they an important part of the puzzle?
Great question, Travis. We know of all the big crises around the world, and water is definitely one of the top ones, right? Because it cuts across every facet of life and survival and prosperity. And it might be shocking for people to hear that unsafe water impacts 2 billion people around the world. On a gross estimate, 2 billion people don't have access to safe water. You can imagine the kind of loss of productivity, loss of health, and all the other detrimental things that happen because of that. And that's where creative solutions and problem-solving ways and innovative solutions are needed, and that's where social entrepreneurs become so important to address this problem of safe water.
Yeah, it's amazing when you think about that 2 billion number, right? That's like more than, it's like 1 out of every 4 people that's alive on this planet that has a real challenge with this building block of life. It's
Hmm.
heartbreaking when you dwell on it, but I think it motivates a lot of us in our work, right? Um,
Yeah.
are there any success stories or solutions involving social entrepreneurs, that you've encountered throughout your career that kind of stick in your memory?
Yeah, well, I just want to talk about one specific example,
Yeah.
Travis, that has really stood out in my mind. There is a district called Medak district in the southern Indian state of Telangana, right? When I joined Safe Water Network about 3 years ago, my colleagues in India hosted me and invited me to see the work on the ground because that was very important. And I went to the district of Medak, where we are working with some amazing partners like Honeywell and the state government of Telangana and so on. What was fascinating there is how, one of the models that we have, Travis, is setting up water kiosks in some of these areas where access to safe water is a challenge. And it was amazing to see how small groups of women, these are self-help groups of women, were running these water enterprises. Each kiosk was being run by a small set of women, and it was their collective entrepreneurship, right? And so to see an entire district, which is several 100,000 people being served by these groups of women spread across this area, and addressing the issue of water contamination and providing all the villages there with clean water, it was both heart rendering and also very energizing to see how a sustainable entrepreneurial solution is being brought to a particular district. And coincidentally, we had an elected representative who happened to be a woman. There was a district bureaucrat in charge of the district who happened to be a woman. And so it was amazing to see the leadership and entrepreneurship of women driving this entire effort in this entire district. And as I said, thanks to the support of our partners and corporate partners like Honeywell and others, it's a very thriving social entrepreneurship ecosystem that they've created, Travis.
Mm. That is a terrific success story. I love hearing that.
Mhm.
Talk about the Safe Water Network and your approach. There's a lot of people working out in water and trying to address
Mhm.
challenges, but you all have a pretty unique approach and model.
Yeah, absolutely. But I must start by saying a couple of things about Safe Water Network. Late actor Paul Newman is gets the credit for starting this, along with some other fabulous people. John Whitehead, who was the former co-chair of Goldman Sachs, Josh Weston. Who's our board member of for the chair of ADP. They came together in 2006 to start Safe Water Network, realizing that access to safe water is such a luxury in so many parts of the world. But Travis, what is very heartening about our approach is we work directly on the ground in the countries of India and Ghana. We serve several millions of people in both these countries, but these two countries and these two operations of ours serve as demonstration. You can almost call them as laboratories for innovation, where we understand how the community aspect of this works, how the technology aspect of this works, how the economics and the sustainability aspect of safe water works. It could be energy, policy. So we use our experience on the ground in India and Ghana to continue to finesse our model, if you will, and continue to innovate. And then we don't stop there, Travis. We actually, we use that to document our learnings. You might even call it building the evidence base for really improving the whole sector and really trying to replicate these lessons and share these lessons more widely in the water sector around the world. So learning from India and Ghana, sharing it with the rest of the water sector, documenting it as much as possible, and even to the extent of helping craft national and global policy around water. One quick example is the government of India a few years ago invited our team to actually craft the national water policy. Right? If you think about our fingerprints on crafting a policy for 1.2 billion people, it's incredible what a small organization like Safe Water Network is able to do, and punching above our weight, I would say. So that's the kind of work that we do, Travis.
Oh, fantastic. That's incredible stuff. Could you talk a little bit about just briefly the challenges for sustainable safe water?
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, Travis, even the scale of the problem is just so humongous, even to wrap your head around. Right, 2 billion people in scattered around so many remote parts of the world, not even having basic access to water. Children are not able to go to school. you know, in some parts of the world, including India and Ghana, a disproportionate number of hospital admissions and hospital beds are because of waterborne diseases, right? So if you think about the scale of the problem itself, it's huge. And then always, of course, resources are a big issue, right? So the provision of safe drinking water, if you think about it, even very very well-off countries, if you will, they subsidize clean drinking water. So if you think about other resource challenged countries of the world and geographies of the world, you need government funding, you need philanthropic support, you need an entrepreneurial approach to address this very big problem, because it's not about, oh, let me go and dig a well, or let me go and fix a tap and a bore hole, and then end of the problem, right? It requires constant monitoring, it requires quality control, and as we know, one of the biggest problems is of contamination of water. And then there is the very very big issue of behavior aspect, Travis, because it's also about altering people's behavior, right? There are many communities that continue to drink unsafe water because they just have been doing that for decades, and they don't realize that some of the health issues and other issues that they are facing is because of the contaminated water. So it's about resources, it's about the creating the right ecosystem, it's about changing community behavior, and it's about addressing issues like water quality and so on.
One of the things you all emphasize are market-based solutions for water. Why is that important?
Well, Travis, as I kind of referred to earlier, it's if one set of resources were adequate for solving this problem, we could have said, oh, let's bring in philanthropic funding and end of the problem, or let government put in all the money, end of the problem. But that's not the case. It takes a multi-pronged approach to really address this issue. As we said, even in our own model, while we get the government support, while we get some of the infrastructure support from the government, and we get the philanthropic support to actually set up our water stations, we also make sure that the community pays a nominal amount to actually secure the water, because that's what builds in the sustainability, and that's where the market-based solution comes in. And if you think about it, yes, there are some people in the world who can absolutely not even pay the few cents needed for this, but most people can afford it. But if you think about the cost benefit of it, Travis, even by spending $7 to $10 a month, they get all the clean water that they need for cooking and drinking. And think about the saved healthcare cost. Think about not losing work days and pay. Think about children staying in school. If you think about the cost benefit, it's really worth having these market-based solutions, because that's what ensures sustainability, Travis.
One of the things I found interesting, I think you mentioned, is the idea that approaches and models that are being used in countries like India and Ghana could provide lessons for challenges even in the United States. Really, really interesting.
Absolutely. Look, one thing we have to all agree upon, and not shy away from, is this is a global problem. It's not an India problem or a Ghana problem or a Mexico problem or a Brazil problem, right? So many urban areas in the world are not water resilient, by which I mean they could be running out of water in a decade or two, right? Then there are underserved pockets of the countries, wherever you look at, you can even call them as safe water deserts, literally, right? Even in the United States, we have certain urban areas, we have native communities and so on, that we have been reading in the media and so on, as to how these areas are deprived of safe and easy access to water and affordable access to water. So when you work in a resource challenged context like India and Ghana, where you find lots of creative people and creative solutions, they are replicable solutions, they are transferable solutions, and we must remember that we definitely need to adapt these solutions. There is no one size fits all here, But having said that, when you look at some models and some approaches and innovations that have worked in where we are working in India and Ghana, they are definitely replicable in the United States and in other parts of the world. And that's what we try to document and share with the water sector, Travis.
Yeah, I love that idea that you have creativity out there. Necessity breeds invention
Mhm.
and creativity, right? And you can take those
Mhm.
seeds and plant them elsewhere where there's a need also. And
Yeah.
the approaches that have been tried haven't been working, like you
Mhm.
mentioned, certain communities. Um, Before we dive into an event you all have coming up, which I'm really excited to talk about, um, how did you choose India and Ghana as the places to focus your work?
Well, Travis, that's a very interesting and big question. But in short, I would say you need a conducive ecosystem to try innovation and change. Right? You need an enabling policy environment. You need a supportive bureaucracy. You need the corporate sector participation. You need philanthropic support, and you need a reasonable level of stable, democratic, and conducive community participation to be able to execute a new idea, for, if you will, right? And so for us, not to be able to worry about other extraneous factors, but actually focus on the innovation and the community was important, and that's how we landed on India and Ghana.
Okay. Makes a ton
Yeah.
of sense. Um,
Mhm.
all right. Well, I want to talk about this event you have coming up on September 3rd. It's a convening of global youth leaders. I
Mhm.
will let you take it from there. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah. Travis, this is a very exciting program for us. Safe Water Network has always strived to engage all sectors of society, all demographies. But we said, how can we put young people in charge of this very big global problem? Because they are amazing at finding solutions, and that's how it started. And all the entire Safe Water Network team in India and Ghana and in the New York office, we said, how can we really do something that actually gets the younger generation and the future readers really involved in our mission, and that's how it started. And and Travis, very proud to report that as we speak, we have over 400 young leaders registered from about 30 countries, representing about 160 organizations. And then we have some incredible partners who have come on board. We have UNICEF, we have the global social entrepreneurship organization Ashoka, the international development platform DevEx, and so many other partners. And we are grateful to be partnering with Waterloop as well. So there's such a groundswell of interest in this, and young people are so charged up to really come together and share their stories of success and their ideas to be a part of this youth convening, Travis.
Yeah, I want to dig into the young people thing a little bit more. I mean, I think you've
Mhm.
hit a couple of the reasons. Like
Mhm.
they they're not jaded. They're not worn down by years of bureaucracy or frustration or the system,
Mhm.
grinding in the gears of the system. They have like a
Mhm.
real a freshness and a belief. They're idealistic still, and
Yeah.
they're creative. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's kind of why you're trying to get them sparked to and bring them together and highlight them.
Absolutely, Travis, but I will frame it a little differently.
Okay.
They are sparking us. They are
Ah.
sparking us because I'll mention a couple of amazing people I've gotten to know well in the process. Abigail Opoku, she lives and works in New York City, and she's been mentoring young people in Brooklyn. She's of Ghanaian origin. What a coincidence for us because we work in Ghana. And she's so excited to be a part of this convening. And another wonderful young person, Garvita Gulati, who's going to be featured on this program. She was a young engineer but she took on this problem of water conservation, realizing what's happening in her city. She's actually launched an amazing campaign involving restaurants because restaurants consume so much water. So I just gave you a slice of two amazing innovators that we are working with and featuring on this event. So it's been incredible to work with all these young people and really be inspired by what they're doing, Travis.
I love the point that they are so savvy with technology, understanding things that we don't, and As our world continues to digitize, that skill set is just essential.
But we have some amazing global influencers who are part of this event, and we have Dr. Rajiv Shah, who heads the Rockefeller Foundation. We have Ravi Venkatesan, who is a global ambassador for the young at UNICEF, and then we have Chandrika Tandon, who is who's the chair of the NYU Tandon School of Engineering and a very well-known philanthropist. She is participating in this program. So we have the dialoguing with these young people because that's an amazing combination, Travis.
What do you hope then happens, right? With an event like this, you don't want it to just be a moment in time. You hope it's a catalyst, right? So what do you hope kind of flows from this?
Well, to begin with, Travis, it's going to be amazing to really have this new platform and this amazing group of people come together and be mutually inspired, right? It's going to spark so much action in small and big ways around the world. As I said, already 13 countries are represented here. So that's one. Two, we see this as a vehicle, as a portable vehicle for other important issues. And water intersects with so many other issues. It could be gender, it could be livelihoods, it could be economic prosperity, it could be public health. And we see during this time of the pandemic how access to safe water has become such a central issue. So we see this network that's blossomed as a platform for future solution finding exercises for addressing other bigger issues which intersect with water, which is almost everything, Travis.
It is really, sure. Lastly, I just want to ask you, what makes you so optimistic about the future of water? I mentioned all the tremendous challenges. You talked about 2 billion people that don't have safe, adequate water, but you seem to be very optimistic. And so where does that come from?
Well, I think one has to be optimistic yet pragmatic and realistic about these issues. Travis, I'll take a slightly philosophical tone about this. Look, we live in a world of paradoxes. We live in a world of contradictions. Water is one of the biggest challenges that faces the world right now. By the same token, human ingenuity, the creativity of young people, the drive and the energy of the younger generation, I think is a huge reason for optimism. And then to that extent, we are bringing these amazing 500 plus young change leaders together. So again, to repeat what I said earlier, there's going to be an ongoing energy of small and big innovations that will help address these problems in different parts of the world. But we can't be complacent. We can't be in denial. We know it is a big problem. And we've been talking about social inequities. We have been talking about the imbalances, Travis. And lack of access to safe water is one of the biggest reasons for these inequities as well. It adds to the other inequities. So we are hopeful that with the kind of solutions that Safe Water Network is bringing, with the kind of energy that we are galvanizing through these kind of convenings, and through the sharing of knowledge and through the building of network that we are doing, in India, around the world, and in Ghana, we remain very optimistic, Travis.
Yeah, fantastic. Venky, I am so glad we got to catch up and have this podcast. I'm grateful for your perspective and information around a lot of these issues, and look forward to further conversations in the future.
Thank you, Travis, for this amazing opportunity. It's a very vast and complex subject, so I just instinctively responded as best as I could. But there is so much more to this, Travis. But thanks for the opportunity.
Waterloop, Waterloop, Waterloop.
The Waterloop podcast is brought to you by High Sierra Showerheads, the smart and stylish way to save water, energy, and money while enjoying a powerful shower. Use promo code WATERLOOP for 20% off at highsierrashowerheads.com.
You're in the Waterloop.